Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 19th of July 2019. We're going to reflect on Matthew 12, 1-8. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. When the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." Jesus said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God and ate the bread of the presence, which it was not lawful for him or his companions to eat, but only for the priests. Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple break the Sabbath and yet are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. But if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." The Gospel of the Lord. The title of today's reflection is Situational Ethics. It simply means that one chooses how to act based on the needs of a situation rather than absolute moral standards. You may have heard the saying, "The end justifies the means," or the phrase, "choosing the lesser of two evils," or "the greatest good for the greatest number." These are all examples of situation ethics. So why are we talking about this here? Because it seems that Jesus may be doing this in today's story. Let me explain. The Jews were not allowed to work on the Sabbath. This included sowing and planting. Many things were prohibited to ensure that this rule was not broken. For instance, people were not allowed to spit on the ground on the Sabbath because the spittle might fertilize the soil. Yes, I know it sounds absurd, but never mind. We sometimes do things that are equally absurd. Harvesting was also forbidden. So plucking the heads of grain constituted harvesting. So when the disciples did this, plucked the heads of grain because they were hungry, the Pharisees said they were breaking the laws of the Sabbath. And then, as if to justify their actions, Jesus speaks about how David broke the law and nobody said anything. Situational ethics? Not at all. So let us try to understand what happened in a few words. 1, the Pharisees were always accusing Jesus of doing what was wrong, but that was because their understanding and interpretation of Scripture was wrong. 2, the disciples weren't breaking any laws because they were not really harvesting, nor were they cooking a meal. They were simply eating. 3, David did break the law, and Jesus agrees, but he was not justifying David's actions. Jesus was telling the Pharisees that they were having double standards. They let what David did pass, but were taking exception to what the disciples did, which was totally guiltless. Besides, what the priest did, which was also eat during the Sabbath, was breaking the law. But all said, only one thing really matters: mercy. We are also guilty of the same thing, always accusing, always pointing fingers, always finding fault. Why? Let's try mercy, shall we? Because as Jesus said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy." God bless you.